Good morning. Welcome to World Forum for Women in Science 2024. We are in the technical session for cutting-edge environmental solutions. And I will happily give the word to our moderator.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Good afternoon, dear esteemed colleagues. A very warm welcome, dear esteemed guests. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great honor co-chairing the session today with Professor Hossam El-Nasr, who will be our first speaker today to present on the topic entitled Working on the Mitigation of Greenhouse Gas Emissions. First, a little bit more about Professor El-Nasr. So Professor El-Nasr is from the National Research Center in Egypt. He's a professor of photocatalysis, water treatment, and desalination. He is affiliated to the National Research Center in Egypt. He's also a member of the Committee Linking Scientific Research with Industry, a Secretary General of the Entrepreneurship Committee of the Chemical Industries Research Institute in Egypt. He's also a member of the Technical Evaluation and Follow-up for Nexus Affairs for the Egyptian Academy of Scientific Research and Technology. He's a PI of a UK-Egypt joint project, a coordinator of various memorandum of agreements, member of International Silk Road Academy, and also a consultant at IGESCO Group in Egypt. He has excellent expertise in the fields of application of photocatalysis in environment and industry. He's a principal investigator for many national as well as international projects concerning water treatment and desalination, hydrogen production, and renewable. He supervises various MSc and PhD theses and has more than 40 publications. He also has been working as a visiting professor in many international universities, including in the UK, USA, Italy, and Hungary. He has 2 patents, and he has also been awarded many awards from the National Research for his achievements in photochemistry and photocatalysis. It's an honor to have you. We look forward to your talk. The floor is yours, Professor Hossam.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Karen, for this nice and wonderful introduction. It's my pleasure to join this outstanding and themed event and share jointly this session with you. And now I would like to share my screen to start my presentation. Today, I am here today. Before I'm starting my presentation, I would welcome all our distinguished speakers and audience to join us this session. I am here today to present my lecture on greenhouse gases mitigation by photocatalysis. I am Professor Hossam El-Nasr, Professor of Photocatalysis and Water Technology at Photochemistry Department, Chemical Industries Research Institute at the National Research Center in Egypt. Before I'm starting my presentation, I would like to give you some information about my institute, the National Research Center in Egypt, NRC. NRC is the largest multidisciplinary R&D center in Egypt, devoted to basic and applied research within the major fields of interest, and it possesses an impressive scientific, technological infrastructure and manpower resources of more than 4,800 research staff, and it consists of 14 institutes and 109 departments covering the major areas of industry, health, environment, agriculture, and the basic science engineering. The outlines of my presentation will include introduction on greenhouse gases, sources and the types, and also I will give information about photocatalysis technique, and then I will discuss the application of titanium-based photocatalyst in greenhouse gases mitigation, and I will focus on titanium dioxide, which is considered to be an efficient semiconducting photocatalyst. And I will show you the experimental setup for photocatalytic oxidation of greenhouse gases. And I will focus on nitrogen oxides, carbon oxides, monoxides, and carbon dioxide. Then I will discuss the application of photocatalytic oxidation in mitigation of these greenhouse gases. I will focus on nitrogen oxides, carbon dioxide fixation, and finally, I will talk about the carbon monoxide capturing using photocatalytic technique. And now, as we know, actually, the whole world is facing environmental and climate change problems due to the emission of these greenhouse gases, due to the using. I'm sorry, the presentation is going quickly. Due to the using of ordinary and classic fossil fuels during the activities during the human and industrial activities. Many of toxic particles and pollutants have been emitted from the use of this fossil fuel. These particulate matters include polycyclic aromatic compounds, methyl chloride, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, heavy metals, sulfur dioxide, volatile organic compounds, and the particulate matter. So all of these compounds are emitted from the burning of fossil fuels during human and industrial activity. And as we see, as reported by World Health Organization, more than there are many diseases, millions of diseases due to. I'm sorry, the presentation. I'm sorry. I have a problem with the technical problem with presentation. Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
I think it's slow or something, technical problems.
We see the introduction slide
Yes.
now. Is it
Yes.
correct? And then United Nations Climate Change Conference or conference.
Yes, yes. Okay, no problem. I will complete. Sorry. Okay, no problem. As I mentioned, all the world is facing climate change and environmental problems due to the use of classic fossil fuels. And of course, United Nations have established an annually conference, which is called Conference of Parties, or COP. This conference has been established annually to discuss the climate change and environmental problems. And I have participated in COP27, which has been held at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt a year ago as observer. And one of the important recommendations of this conference is we have to use clean and green technologies instead of use of classic or traditional technologies to mitigate the greenhouse gases emission. So one of the green technologies, photocatalysis is considered one of these clean technologies that has been used in many chemical industries and reactions since photocatalysis uh, uh, since photocatalytic reactions are carried out in ambient temperature and atmospheric pressure, and we need not to have severe conditions in this type of reactions or industries, since most of photocatalytic reactions use green technologies, green materials, green solvents, and photocatalytic reactions have many applications in greenhouse gas mitigation, organic synthesis, and water treatment. I will focus in my presentation on the applications of titanium-based photocatalyst in greenhouse mitigation. Since in photocatalytic reactions, we use materials which is sensitive to the light to carry out chemical reactions. These materials are called photocatalysts, which are considered to be semiconducting materials based on organic or non-organic compounds. So now we will move to the applications of titanium-based photocatalysts in greenhouse mitigation. Why titanium? I will focus on titanium because why titanium dioxide? Because it is an efficient photocatalyst. Also due to its photo stability and chemical stability. Also its availability because it is considered to be one of most available 50 chemicals in the world. Also, its excellent chemical and photochemical stability. It has also strong oxidizing power of valence band, but the only disadvantage of using titanium dioxide as semiconducting photocatalyst is it's only active under UV light, which and all we know, all of us know that UV light is considered to be 400% of the incoming solar energy. Actually, in my research group, we have consulted with senses of different type of titanium-based photocatalysts, and we put great effort to enhance the photocatalytic activity of titanium dioxide. And one of these the promising techniques to enhance and increase the photocatalytic activity of titanium dioxide is ultrasonic treatment in certain conditions. And this, as we see from the figure, the band energy decreased from 3.19 to 2.98. So by this treatment, the titanium dioxide could absorb both UV and visible light, and the photocatalytic activity increased by this type of treatment. This is very simple treatment since we bought titanium dioxide in a certain ultrasound system, and we treated and we make sonication for titanium dioxide in water for 2 hours at 400 kilohertz. Also, we studied the loading of modified titanium dioxide with certain noble metals like silver and platinum. And we found that by loading silver and platinum, the photocatalytic activity increased due to the increasing of electron transfer between the titanium photocatalyst and existing species in the solution. And this diagram illustrates the EDX and scanning electron microscope analysis of our silver titania and platinum titania dioxide modified with ultrasonication. And also, we carried out XRD analysis for our photocatalyst to confirm the presence of platinum and gold, and to confirm the crystal structure of platinum titania and silver titania. And as we see that the platinum and silver don't have an apparent effect on the crystal lattice of or crystal structure of titania. Also, as we see from this figure is a comparative or comparison between bare titania and some of titanium-based hybrids that we have prepared in our labs. And we see that by adding carbonate tube and platinum, palladium, and silver, the band gap decreased from 3.18 to 2.46 electron volt in case of titanium carbonate tube, 2.39 electron volt in case of palladium titanium carbonate tube, and 2.36 electron volt in case of silver titanium carbonate tube, and finally 2.33 electron volt in case of platinum titanium carbonate tube hybrid. So by adding carbonate tube and noble metals, the conduction rate decrease and as well as the photocatalytic activity increase. So these hybrids could absorb range-wide spectrum of light from UV to visible light. And this is also transmission electron microscope analysis of some samples, and we noticed that to measure the particle size, and we see the particle size range from 32.5 to 37.3 nanometer for different type of hybrids. And this is the setup of our experimental system for the photocatalytic oxidation of greenhouse gases. We use this system for mitigation of nitrogen oxide, carbon oxide, and the carbon monoxide, where here we put our photocatalyst with action media, and we irradiated the system with UV visible light source, and we use the targeted gas like nitrogen oxide, carbon oxide, and carbon monoxide in cylinder, and we use the calibrator to detect the concentration of inlet gas, and we measure the outlet gas by using gas analyzer. So we could calculate the conversion of inlet gas with the conversion of inlet gas, and also we make a chemical analysis for the products here in our system to also to evaluate the photocatalytic action products. So this is our system, which we use in our lab. We have actually many applications in field of mitigation of greenhouse gases. We work on photocatalytic oxidation of nitrogen oxide, and here in this system we convert nitrogen oxide to nitric acid by using photocatalytic oxidation technique. As we know, nitric acid is an important chemical and important acid used in many industries. So we oxidize nitrogen oxide to nitric acid using titanium-based photocatalyst in presence of water. And this is a mechanism of conversion of nitrogen oxide to nitric acid. As we see, on the addition of titanium dioxide, there is an electron transfer from valence band to conduction band, where at conduction band oxidation of water takes place, and reduction of oxygen takes place and conduction band. And there is successive chemical reaction between negative and positive species with nitrogen oxide to produce nitric acid. And if you want more details, you could find the details in our published paper in environmental science pollution research. Also, we have worked in sorry. Yes, we have worked on also mitigation of carbon dioxide by inserting carbon dioxide in a chemical reaction using titanium, also titanium-based photocatalyst and hybrids with carbon nanotube. So we use hybrids of titanium carbon nanotube and the metal. This metal could be palladium and we use palladium and platinum, and we convert carbon dioxide. We insert carbon dioxide in a chemical reaction, a photochemical reaction, where we convert styrene oxide to styrene carbonate. So the carbon dioxide is photocatalytically react with styrene to form carbonate. This styrene carbonate are variable compounds which are used in many industries. Also, we studied. Sorry. Also, we studied the mitigation of carbon dioxide and convert it into formic acid using photocatalytic oxidation of carbon dioxide to formic acid, and at the same time we use carbon dioxide to make reduction of nitro compounds to amino compounds, and amino compounds also are very valuable compounds which are used in many industries like textile and many industries. So using this reaction, we eliminate or mitigate the carbon dioxide and convert it to valuable compound like formic acid, and in the same time reduction of nitrogen compounds to amino compounds. And we, as we see, we have a yield range from 87 to 80 to 96%. And also, if you would like more details, You could found it in our research article, which has been published in Chemistry Select at 2023. Finally, we have in our research group, we have make implementation of prototype for photocatalytic reactor for industrial application. As we see, this is photoreactor, and we could put our photocatalyst here, and the solution make circulation in this circuit. So we could use this prototype photocatalyst photoreactor in industry for water treatment and for chemical preparation industry and many applications. Finally, this is a recent scientific publication of my research group in the National Research Center. And I would like to thank my research group, Professor Ahmed Al-Nazar, Professor Yasser Mahmoud, Professor Riham Rashad, Professor Samir Tawfiq, Professor Samira Taha Rabia, Dr. Zahra Ibrahim, and we have also we have many national and international cooperation, like Birmingham University, Clean Energy Research Institute, Palermo University, University Turin, St. Louis University, Cairo University, Ain Shams University, Hellenic Mediterranean University, and we are happy for collaboration with universities and institutes all over the world. Finally, thanks a lot. I'm sorry for the delay in the presentation due to technical problems, and I am happy to hear your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. For this excellent talk. I don't see any questions in the chat. I think due to the limit of time, if anyone have any urgent questions, can you please raise your hand or type your question in the chat box? Okay, I don't see any hands, so I think because of the time constraint, we can move on to our next speaker, Lediana Maria Alves Oliveira, which Professor Hossam will introduce. Thank you so much, Professor Hossam, for your talk. And we move on now to...
Yes, now let's move to our esteemed next speaker, Lydiane Maria Alves Oliveira, Master in Material Science, Federal University of Pernambuco, the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World. She works in renewable energy sector of the multinational company GETIC as coordinator of social and community relations. She has a master's degree in material science from Federal University of Pernambuco, effective teacher as Aries Jana High School Reference School, Master in Educational Science from Absolute Christian University. She has a specialization in pedagogy from Facultad in Integrada de Patos, graduated in chemistry from Federal Rural University Academic Unit Stella Salhada. So, Maria, could you start your presentation?
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but she's not present today, unfortunately. So maybe if we could kindly move to the next speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Karen, could you introduce Safa?
Yes, of course. Can you hear me?
Safa is here.
Yes.
Safa
Okay.
is here.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
So warm welcome, Safa. So Safa Mekochi, I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correctly. She's a PhD student at the Institute of Electronics, Microelectronics and Nanotechnology in Algeria. And she's currently completing her final year in France at the IEMN in Lille. And her studies have been supported by the L'Oréal UNESCO for Women in Science program and the Mobilex grant from Lille University. And her research focuses on the biosynthesis of nanoparticles using bacteria, examining their structural and physicochemical properties, understanding the production mechanisms, and applying the resulting nanoparticles in various fields, including antibiotic resistance, anti-tumoral applications, and photocatalytic degradation of toxic and textile dyes. And her talk will be focused on advanced optimization of biogenic silver nanoparticle synthesis through modeling and computational intelligence techniques, investigating its photothermal antibacterial efficacy. So thank you so much, Safa. We look forward to listening to you. It's an honor to have you. Please share your screen and you can start your talk. Okay, we can see your screen.
I'm just gonna start from the beginning.
Okay.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for attending my presentation. It's an honor to present at the 8th edition of the World Forum for Women in Science. So my presentation today is entitled Advanced Optimization of Biogenic Silver Nanoparticle Synthesis through Modeling and Computational Intelligence Techniques, and also investigation their photothermal and photocatalytic effectiveness. Given our time limits, I will try to proceed quickly and keep it simple. So as we all know, there are serious environmental issues facing our planet that pose a significant threat to ecosystems, human health, and global sustainability. Water pollution, for example, stand out as a critical issue, primarily driven by industrial discharge and agriculture runoff. Also, we cannot sorry. Are you seeing the slides? Everything is good?
Yes, Safa, we can see
Okay.
your slides.
Okay.
Thank you.
As I was saying, another issue is the emergence of antibiotic resistance, which is rapidly transforming treatable infections into deadly ones due to the misuse and overuse of antibiotics and drugs, which lead us to the need of development of new strategies for combating multi-drug resistant bacteria and the degradation of environmental pollutants. Nanotechnology is a scientific field that focuses on understanding the unique properties of the nanoscale to create high-performance materials. Nanoparticles are defined as particles with a maximum size of 100 nanometers. Due to their nanoscale size, nanoparticles possess distinct physical and chemical characteristics. So the ratio of surface area to volume and quantum phenomena are the primary reasons nanoparticles behave differently from materials at a large scale, and thus enhancing their reactivity strengths and electrical, magnetic, and optical properties. These unique characteristics make nanoparticles suitable for various applications, notably in medicine for targeted drug delivery system and fighting bacterial resistance and environmental application for pollution treatment. Silver nanoparticles, for instance, have demonstrated excellent properties and characteristics. When the dimensions of metallic nanoparticles become less than or equal to the electron, new properties appear, most notably surface resonance plasmons, comparing to bulk materials which is inert because of the restriction of electron motion. These nanoparticles have the ability to absorb light and turn it into heat, especially light in the visible range. When the oscillating electric field of the propagating light passes through a nanoparticles, the free conduction band electron oscillates. This collective resonant oscillation or vibration of electron confirmed in nanoparticles. And this is called localized surface plasmon resonance. Now, if the frequency of light matches the resonance frequency of the electrons, the nanoparticles can have strong absorption of light and releasing heat. Combining this phenomenon known as photothermal activity with the well-known antibacterial capacity of silver nanoparticle creates a powerful tool to combat antibacterial resistance microbes. On the other hand, silver nanoparticles also exhibit photocatalytic activity due to their ability to generate reactive oxygen species when exposed, of course, to light. These oxygen species are highly reactive and can break down organic compounds, including dyes and pollutants. However, while the promise of nanoparticles is undeniable, traditional methods of their synthesis present several disadvantages. Conventionally, nanoparticles are synthesized through physical and chemical processes that often need the use of toxic solvents and produce hazardous wastes. These substances, once again, pose risks not only to the environment, but also to human health. Biological synthesis, or as we know as green synthesis, offers a sustainable and environmentally alternative by using plants and microorganisms such as fungi, bacteria, and algae. These methods allow us to harness their natural abilities to reduce metal ions to nanoparticles within ambient conditions without the use of high temperatures and pressure that consume a lot of energy. With that in mind, our research aims to harness these properties by developing a non-toxic ecological method for the biosynthesis of silver nanoparticles using bacteria. Additionally, evaluating the photothermal antibacterial activity of silver nanoparticles against the E. coli model and their photocatalytic ability to degrade methylene blue dye. So first of all, we began by isolating, purifying, and screening the most promising bacteria for the synthesis of silver nanoparticles from 17 isolated strains. And the selected bacterium was identified as Streptomyces tryrus. Afterwards, the optimization of the bacterial culture medium conditions for the biosynthesis of silver nanoparticles was performed using RSM hybrid INN-GA strategies in order to enhance the nanoparticles' yield. Response surface methodology, RSM, artificial neural network known as INN, and generic algorithm known as GA are statistical and advanced computational techniques used to model, understand, and optimize complex processes. When combined into a hybrid approach, they can be particularly effective in studying and optimizing the synthesis of nanoparticles. So firstly, we employed response surface methodology to visually explore how different conditions like the amount of glycerol and cas-amino acid, as well as the incubation temperature, affect the production of silver nanoparticles. The 3D graphs you see here are like maps that show us the best conditions for making these nanoparticles efficiently. Next, we used an artificial neural network INN model as presented in figure number 2. Think of it as a computer program that learns from data to predict the result of our nanoparticle creation process more accurately. This INN takes into account various factors as well, such as the concentration of ingredients and incubation time. And finally, we use the generic algorithm, a computerized method that mimics natural selection to determine the best possible combination of condition for producing silver nanoparticles. It's like finding the perfect recipe to enhance the production of enzymes by the bacteria strain, responsible for the biosynthesis process. And at the end, we selected, or we have chosen the optimal conditions that are listed here. After the successful synthesis of our nanomaterials, we conducted an in-depth study to understand their structure and physical chemical characteristics. Our observation revealed that the nanoparticles overall exhibit a spherical shape and are well distributed. Additionally, we identified the presence of coatings and functional groups on their surfaces, as we see in the FTER graph, which play a crucial role in enhancing the stability and biocompatibility of these nanoparticles. Now, moving to applications, we have first demonstrated the ability of silver nanoparticle to absorb visible light and convert it into heat. Combined with their intrinsic antibacterial properties, we successfully inhibited the growth of the E. coli model. This highlights the potential of silver nanoparticle as a dual function tool for both photothermal and antimicrobial applications. Finally, the photocatalytic degradation of methylene blue was also evaluated under sunlight irradiation using the biosynthesis silver nanoparticles. They demonstrated a photocatalytic decolorization potential of 71.3% of the methylene blue dye at only 20 ppm under solar irradiation within 6 hours of incubation. A part of this work has already been published in the Environmental Research Journal. So for more detailed information, please feel free to consult our article. And that's all for me. Thank you for your attention, and please feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Safa, for this excellent talk. So I'll now open the floor for questions. Anyone can raise their hands if they have a question or type in the chat box. Okay, I don't see any questions. I have a question for you, Safa.
Yes.
Have you tested these nanoparticles against any fungi and also without light?
And for now, I tested them only on bacteria, and yes, silver nanoparticles are really known materials for having really good antibacterial properties and even anti-fungal properties.
Okay, thank you so much, Safa. Any other questions from the audience? I don't see any, so I think we can effectively move. Sorry, I think we can effectively move to the next speaker. Do we have Dr. Garda in the audience?
No, unfortunately, we don't.
Unfortunately. So I see on the program that I'm the next speaker after
Yes.
Dr. Garda.
Yeah.
So it's me
Yeah.
up for now.
Yeah. Let me introduce Dr. Karen Jacqueline Collier, senior researcher at UNESCO University of South Africa, chair in nanoscience and nanotechnology. Dr. Karen is a past South African Young Academy of Science, co-chair Young Scientists Community alumnus of the World Economic Forum, and Global Young Academy member. She is a senior researcher affiliated to the UNESCO University of South Africa, chair in nanoscience and nanotechnology, nanoscience African network, Timba Labs National Research Foundation, and Nano Energy for Sustainable Development in Africa. She is also a successful applicant as ICTP Trail Fellow. Dr. Karen, you could start your presentation.
Thank you so much, Professor Hossam, for that lovely introduction. Can everyone hear me very clearly, and can you see my slides?
Yes, Karen, please start.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. So, hello, dear esteemed colleagues. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present here today. It's really a great honor, and I hope that you will enjoy my talk on the promising potential of nanofertilizers in agriculture. Please accept my apologies. My internet connectivity is not so good, so I'm switching off my video. So let's start with the challenge. Why nanofertilizers? So agriculture is facing numerous and unprecedented challenges that present a threat to sustainable food security. Abiotic and biotic stresses, including climate change, environmental pollution, urbanization, the wars, and pests and diseases are significantly affecting crop yield and a sustainable food supply via multidimensional avenues. Furthermore, the unsustainable use of pesticides and fertilizers, multi-nutrient deficiency in soils or low nutrient use efficiency by plants combined with the augmented application of chemical and organic fertilizers are systematically degrading natural resources and causing eutrophication of water and soil bodies. Interestingly, with traditional fertilizers, up to 40 to 70% of nitrogen, 80 to 90% of phosphorus, and 50 to 90% of potassium may also be lost in the environment due to nutrient runoff, nutrient immobilization, or pure nutrient use efficiency. So essentially, by the year 2030, the demand for agricultural products will have to increase by 60% to sustain the health and well-being of a rapidly expanding population, estimated to reach 8.6 billion by 2030. Alternative approaches to boost agricultural crop performance are hence urgently warranted, and such solutions should ideally deviate from the unsustainable model of increasing fertilizer input doses that are also leading to the depletion of natural resources. So to find solutions to the current crisis within the agro-production sector, nanotechnology have been suggested as a novel and innovative technology. So benefits of nanotype fertilizers include the use of smaller quantities, hence reducing transport and application costs, the provision of smart nutrition due to its targeted and slow release kinetics that could be synchronized with crop nutritional needs, and its higher nutrient bioavailability, absorption, and mass transfer capacity due to its small size, high surface to volume ratios, and increased ionizing power. So nanofertilizers may also enhance soil biological health, improve microbial diversity, and ultimately reduce the demand for fertilizer inputs in an effort to boost sustainable agricultural practices. But before we delve deeper into the topic of nanofertilizers, we need to ask ourselves, how can nanofertilizers be synthesized using safe and green methods? Number two, what are their physicochemical characteristics when synthesized using such methods? And what effect will such green synthesized nanofertilizers have on different plant parts and their physiology? Now, these basic and applied research questions leads us to some of the research aims I will be discussing next. First, developing a green technology towards nanofertilizer synthesis, further supported by computational modeling, to understand which plant phytocompounds interact most with the nanoparticle surface, is key to developing more environmentally safe and biocompatible nanofertilizers. To illustrate, when nanofertilizers are manufactured from plant materials, the phytochemicals within the plant serves as stabilizing and reducing agents, yielding a safer and more biocompatible product. Next, determining the physicochemical properties of the nanofertilizer is crucial, as these properties significantly influence how the particles interact with biological systems such as plants, including plant nutrient uptake. And lastly, fundamentally understanding the nanofertilizer's effect on plant physiology, for example, the seed ionome or elemental distribution in the various seed morphological regions, and also the seed metabolome, is very important before nanofertilizers can be successfully applied as, for example, seed growth promoting agents at one of the most important stages of plant development. So what is the data telling us? As part of the first aim, and with emphasis on developing an optimal green synthesis technology, sorry, molecular dynamic simulations were completed to investigate the interaction of some active phytocompounds in a green starting materials, for example, avocado seeds that was used as the starting material, that acted as stabilizing agents with a nanofertilizer formulated to contain copper and sulfur. So we can see here that the data showed us that 4-hydroxybenzoic acid had a higher affinity for interacting with the nanoparticle surface than the other active plant bioactive compounds, whereas succinic acid had a higher wetting agent tendency and thus a lower affinity for interacting with the nanodigenite. Hence, your 4-hydroxybenzoic acid in the avocado seed extract used as the starting material for the synthesis, hence has a higher potential to stabilize the nanoparticle or the nanofertilizer, making it a bit more environmentally safe and biocompatible. Now, focusing on the second aim, to determine the physicochemical properties of the nanofertilizer that influences its interaction with biological materials, the nanofertilizer were characterized using various techniques that included your scanning electron microscopy, transmission electron microscopy, XRD, FTIR, etc. So based on the characterization of the nanofertilizer constituting of copper and sulfur, which is shown here, the TEM image, which we see in figure A at 50 nanometer scale, shows the shape of the nanoparticles constituting the nanofertilizer to be a mixture of spherical and semi-spherical with some degree of agglomeration. Now, the size distribution extracted from the TEM image we can see here is presented in the form of a histogram in figure B, with an average size diameter of 77.89 nanometer as measured with image J. So the same image in figure C shows that the synthesized copper sulfide nanoparticles or nanofertilizer have a rough surface morphology, and the EDX spectrum shown in figure D further confirms the formation of the copper sulfide-based nanofertilizer, as the data shows the presence of copper and sulfur in the sample. The EDS also detected the presence of carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen that could originate from phytocompounds in the green extract used for synthesis of the nanofertilizer. Now, further chemical characterization with FTIR and XRD was also completed. Here in figure A, show the FTIR spectra of the raw green starting material, the avocado seed extract, that was used as a starting material for synthesizing the copper sulfide-based or digenite nanofertilizer. And then the presence of phytochemicals such as phenols, alcohols, amines, and carboxylic acid that are known to be present in green materials were confirmed by comparing the green starting material to the nanofertilizer FTIR spectrum, with both spectra showing almost identical vibration peaks. The figure B shows the powder XRD pattern of the digenite phase nanofertilizer, and no diffraction peaks associated with impurities were identified in the diffraction pattern. So a fairly pure nanofertilizer was synthesized. Now, focusing on the last aim, to contribute to our fundamental knowledge on the distribution, localization, or accumulation of the nanofertilizer within seed morphological regions, external beam proton-induced X-ray emission, elemental mapping was performed on nanofertilizer imbibed and control bean seeds that was only imbibed with deionized water. The case represented here was for the digenite-based nanofertilizer, and as I mentioned before, bean seeds was used as the model plant. The analysis revealed that the elemental distribution patterns differed between treated and control samples in terms of the distribution and intensity, and that specific elements tended to accumulate in specific seed morphological regions, which was very interesting. For example, in treated samples, the copper element originating from the nanofertilizer was mainly accumulated within the micropyle, hilum, and seed coats or external seed regions, while sulfur showed hotspots in the seed coat close to the hilum and micropyle regions, similar to copper. Now, interestingly, copper was also enriched in the seed coat that may point to the use of the nanofertilizer as a seed protective and nutritive agent. Ultimately, differences in the intensity and distribution patterns for the elements shown here between the treatments could be ascribed to the effect of the nanofertilizer on the intricate physiological and metabolic mechanisms governing uptake, distribution, and storage of elements in seeds. So also, other than the multifaceted chemistry, physiology, homeostasis, and metabolism of the plant region exposed to the nanofertilizer, the physicochemical properties of the nanofertilizer, including its size, morphology, chemical composition, surface functionalization, and concentration of the individual nanoparticles that constitute the nanofertilizer, may also have a multidimensional effect on nanofertilizer uptake. Now, very interestingly, the seed coat acts as a channel transmitting cues about the external environment that may trigger downstream macromolecular responses to alter seed metabolism in response to external environmental changes. Secondary statistical analysis with hierarchical clustering show here the similarities and differences in the amino acid contents based on individual treatments, and the similarity or differences between individual treatments based on amino acid contents. The color legend of this heat map shown here indicates a lower average amino acid concentration in blue, or a higher average amino acid concentration in red in a particular sample. The copper sulfur-based nanofertilizer treated seeds were differentiated from and showed the highest dissimilarity, as shown by the brightest colors of the color map, to the control treatment that was only treated with water, by more extreme Z scores in the negative or below average and positive or above average directions for specific subsets of amino acids compared to the control treatment. In sum, it has been shown that metal nanoparticles trigger changes in biochemical reactions by, for example, downregulating or upregulating metabolites such as amino acids that may affect the plant's adaptive reaction to changing environmental conditions and trigger specific physiological responses. Our other work showed that also a zinc-based nanofertilizer may also significantly affect seed germination and plant physiology and growth parameters in terms of increasing water uptake due to its accumulation in the seed helium area responsible for water uptake. And this is shown here in the inset elemental distribution map image, where we can clearly see the zinc particles accumulating in the hilum, which is responsible for water uptake. Stem length, root length, the length of the first leaves, the number of leaves was also increased. But interestingly, the effect of the nanofertilizer was highly concentration dependent. So ultimately, green synthesized nanofertilizers representing, for example, your copper, sulfur, and zinc exhibit unique physical chemical properties that may significantly affect the plant in terms of its seed, ionome, and amino acid metabolome that trigger a specific growth response in seeds via various physiological avenues. These nanofertilizers may also serve as seed protective agents due to their localization within the seed coat, so they may hence protect the seed against pathogens. It should be further noted that although nanofertilizers can be applied to plant foliage or soil, seed application presents more localized and controlled treatment at one of the plant's most important developmental stages. As with all research, though, further work, for example, in developing smart nutrient release nanofertilizers, using different green starting materials to optimize the physical chemical properties of the nanofertilizer, and very importantly, whether nanofertilizers may be toxic to the environment and humans is necessitated. Furthermore, to advance the field of nanosciences, more multidisciplinary collaboration underscored by science diplomacy between researchers in not only agriculture, but also biology, chemistry, physics, material science, and toxicology is key. Inputs and liaison with the various stakeholders within the agricultural sector, industry, and policy would further cement nanofertilizers as a revolutionary tool towards fast-tracking sustainable agriculture during a time of climate change. So thank you very much for your time in listening to my talk. I acknowledge the support of my mentor and head, my collaborators, fellows of the UNESCO UNISA chair, and funding support from the Radiate project. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Karim, for this wonderful and very interesting lecture on the potential of nanofertilizers in modern agriculture. And I think we have a question from Rhoda. The question is it possible to produce nanoparticles with bacteria? If possible, how is this done?
Thank you so much, Professor Hossam. I think this the question is more dedicated to the previous speaker, but I can also answer. Yes, there are various methods of producing nanoparticles. So you can either have the chemical route or the physical route, whilst the biological route is considered the more safer environmentally and more biocompatible way. So in the biological arena, you can use either plants, which we did. So we used agro waste products to synthesize nanoparticles. We used the aqueous plant extract as a starting material to synthesize our nanoparticles. And because these plant compounds have so many bioactive compounds, they interact with the nanoparticle surface, as we could see on the computational modeling data, and they stabilize also the nanoparticle surface. So this makes the nanoparticle less reactive. I am not so familiar with synthesizing nanoparticles with bacteria, but I know that one can also use bacteria to synthesize nanoparticles. Safa, if you would like to add anything to that, you may please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Karen. And I should move to our next speaker, Dr. Zahra Al-Gohari. Dr. Zahra Al-Gohari is one of, thank you. Dr. Zahra Al-Gohari is one of my research group members. She is a researcher at photochemistry department as a National Research Center. Dr. Zahra has good experience in the field of applications of photocatalysis in environment and industry. She is also a member and co-PI many national and international projects concerning water treatment and desalination, hydrogen production, and renewable energy. Dr. Zahra will give a presentation entitled Eliminate for Efficient Photocatalytic Removal of Heavy Metals Under Visible Light Irradiation. Please, Dr. Zahra, you have 12 minutes for your presentation. Please start.
Thanks, Professor Hussam, for this excellent introduction. I'm going to share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, Dr. Zahra, please start.
Okay.
Is it possible to make it full screen, Dr. Zahra?
It's
Yes,
full
this is
screen.
full screen. Please
Okay.
start. Yes,
Um,
okay, please start.
As a beginning, I'm very happy to be here with you today in this special scientific day. I am Zahra Ahmad Gouhari, researcher at the Photochemistry Department, National Research Center in Egypt. My talk will be about illuminate for efficient photocatalytic removal of heavy metals under visible light irradiation. The contents, I will begin with introduction, methodology, result and discussion, and finally conclusion. Introduction. According to the WOW 2016 report, it is estimated that about 0.84 million deaths in 2012 were related to water pollution. There are many water pollutants. One of the most important water pollutants are heavy metals. There are different sources for heavy metals, natural sources from volcanoes and forest fires, or anthropogenic activities due to human activities, where the heavy metals transfer to water and soil and air, causing their pollution, which also can proceed from the water, can transfer from water and soil and air to the aquatic animals and animals that the human feed on them, and even plants that we feed on. Why heavy metals are a problem? Because they are not biodegradable and they are bioaccumulative. They accumulate inside the human tissue body. And because of their toxicity, they can cause many diseases to human beings. Many techniques have been used for heavy metal removal. One of the promising techniques used for removal of heavy metals is photocatalysis. Photocatalysis is based mainly on using a catalyst, but the material of the catalyst should be activated by light. To be a photocatalyst. This photocatalyst can attach to the heavy metal by absorption in order to remove it from the water. Why photocatalysis? Because the technique itself is simple and flexible. It consumes low energy. It uses less chemicals in comparison to other methods. Besides its high efficiency, and it is an eco-friendly method when you depend on sunlight as your source of light. As you see here in this chart, in the last 10 years, there's the number of publications regarding photocatalysis with water is increasing rapidly, reaching about around 10,000 publications in 1 year. Here is the methodology. In this work, we took ilmenite ores as our photocatalyst in order to remove lead ions as heavy metals in aqueous solution. In the first stage in our work, we collected ilmenite ores from Egyptian source. In ilmenite, why ilmenite? Because ilmenite ore is an available ore here in Egypt, and it is cheap also. Here in this photo, you can find one of our team members. He is a geologist. while he was collecting the ilmenite ores. You can see these gray rocks are the ilmenite sheets. They are present above the earth. There is no need for digging underground. We got our ilmenite ores from Wadi Abu Ghalqa in Egypt over the Red Sea. After that, a simple treatment using simple ultrasonic treatment. We done this treatment just to increase more active sites on the surface of the ilmenite ore and to remove as we could some impurities and increase the active sites over the surface. And we also compared the treated ores, ilmenite ores, the treated ones with the natural ores before treatment. In a second stage, we studied the photocatalytic performance of the chosen ilmenite samples on the efficiency removal to study the removal efficiency of lead ions in aqueous solution under visible light at room temperature and atmospheric pressure. Of course, the evaluation stage, we have done evaluation and characterization all over our work. From the beginning, we started with full characterization analysis for the ilmenite ores and also for the treated ilmenite samples. And also, we monitored the photocatalytic performance in order to investigate its efficiency using different and studying different parameters. Result and discussion. Here, you can see the XRD pattern for 3 different ilmenite ores, the natural ores. We labeled them 1, 2, 3. The difference, they have different percentage for ilmenite ranging between 78 to 83, and some hematite or ranging between 17 and 22%. The XRF data shows that the 3 samples got titanium dioxide with a percent ranging from 36 to 39.7%, and ferric oxide with 50 with percent ranging between 55 and 57%. This is the SEM and EDX images for the ilmenite ores and their treated samples. This is the ore itself, the ore number 1, labeled coded number 1. As you can see from the SEM image, it's a large macro lump. After being treated, the surface area increased too much, which can enhance the more absorption. The absorption process to occur more after treatment. This is another SEM image for another ore, coded number 3, and this is its treated sample. Also, we have done the BET analysis. From the BET analysis, the surface area for the untreated ores, they were less than the treated ones. Like for ilmenite or coded number 1, it was the surface area was 56 meters square per gram, which increased after being treated to 71.3 meters square per gram. And for the ore coded 2, it was 24 before treatment, which increased to 28.1 meters square per gram. And the third sample, the third ore, was 62 meters square per gram before treatment, and after treatment, the surface area increased to 70.9 meters square per gram. Also, the total pore volume increased also after treatment. This is the absorption-dissolution isotherm for the ilmenite, for all the ilmenite samples, showing they are mesoporous of type 3. We have also done studied different parameters like the effect of contact time, pH, and absorbent, and many other parameters. But I just got some of them because of the sake of time. I will discuss it fastly. In this figure, you can see the effect of contact time. In the first figure, on the left hand, you can see this is in darkness. We wanted to study the effect of the catalytic effect of illuminate under darkness without light. It showed some removal efficiencies that didn't exceed 50% for all the samples. While under visible light radiation, the removal efficiency increased too much for all the samples. Also, we studied the pH of solution, and it was the best was at pH neutral pH at pH 7. Under optimum conditions, we reached the removal efficiency reached 97.6%. For illuminate coded number 1, while its or sample, which is untreated sample, was 78.5%. This confirms that our treatment enhances the photocatalytic efficiency. It is clear that the ore was only 78.5 and increased after being treated to 97%. Also, all the other sample illuminate ores, also the ore number 2, it was 43.6% and increased after the removal efficiency for lead ions increased to 50.8%. Also, the ore number 1, it was showed the 19.8% removal efficiency that increased to 32.3% removal efficiency under optimum temperature, room temperature, and atmospheric pressure for after 60-minute radiation time under visible light. This is our proposed mechanism that the illuminate as a complex without being functionalized or treated. It's the active sites for the absorption of lead was much less when compared to the functionalized complex. In conclusion, with the help of visible light, our photocatalyst obtained from illuminate ores from Wadi Abu Ghalqa in Egypt, which is cheap and available here in Egypt, was successfully able to remove the lead ions with a removal efficiency reached 97% for the treated samples. In order to obtain to get pure and safe water, to protect our health, to save our environment, and develop our to obtain a sustainable development. This work is already published in Egyptian Journal of Chemistry. You can go and if you want to read more about it. This is our research team at the National Research Center who already worked on this work, on this study. Professor Hussein, Professor Yasser, Professor Ahmed, Professor Mukhlis, and of course me, El Zahra. And all this work was funded by the National Research Center. This is some of our previous work regarding removal of heavy metals using different photocatalysts for removing copper and chromium 6 and different heavy metals. This is the reference that I have used in this presentation. Thanks for your attention, and if you have any question, please ask. And I would like to thank you again, to thank you, Professor Hussein and Professor Karen, and all the audience. And if you have any question, please ask.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Zahra, for this very interesting and a wonderful presentation. And anyone have any question?
I just have a comment. Thank you very much, Dr. Elzara, for this very interesting talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zahra. And
Thank you.
Dr. Karen, I think we have to go to our next speaker, Dr. Wala Shaban. Please
Okay.
introduce Wala.
Okay, so a very warm welcome to our last speaker of the session. Dr. Vala has a PhD of Applied Chemistry, gas sensor fabrication, and more than 10 years experience as an academic staff member at the Egyptian Petroleum Research Institute. She's a member of several scientific projects funded by STDF and ASRT, and she's also a visiting researcher at Waterloo University. And she'll be speaking to us today about the capacity of AI to handle and evaluate the massive data sets as one of the most important contributions to medical anthropology. It's a great honor to have you. The floor is yours, Dr. Vala. You may start sharing your screen.
Thanks a lot for the introduction. Could you hear me?
We can see your screen.
Okay, could you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Vala, just before you start, I've received a note here from the organizers that we have 12 minutes altogether. At 13:45, we are starting the next session. So please go ahead and present your talk. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Wala Shaban, a researcher at Petrochemicals Department, Egyptian Petroleum Research Institute. Thank you for the introduction. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you all today. My presentation will focus on nanomaterial and their polymer nanocomposite application for air monitoring and water treatment. So I'm going to talk about two critical environmental problems that presents great challenge for whole world and how nanoscience could be a key solution. First one is the air pollution. As we could see, air pollution affects many SDGs and has a great impact on most of them. Air pollution was a significant threat to achieving several sustainable development goals. The release of harmful pollutants into atmosphere, whether in industrial activities, transportation, or household sources, not only did affects air quality, but also affected the process towards multiple SDGs, like SDG 3, health, suffer as respiratory diseases and other illness increase due to exposure to pollutants. Also, the SDG 13 for the climate change by contributing to greenhouse emission. Moreover, it impacts ecosystem, SDG 15, as pollutants settle on the land and water bodies. So in hurry, we will go to the next slide. Most air pollutant we will classify into gases, aromatic hydrocarbons, and chemicals. I focused on the gases, which is my research topic for carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, hydrogen chloride, and hydrogen disulfide, nitrous gases, and ammonia. The detection of gases or gas detector system, as we could see, have many forms and shapes, and all of them depends on the material science, or the sensing material, which we'll talk about the nanomaterials. The gas sensor type, first one, the calorimetric or optical type, mainly of the famous one here in Egypt or in the petroleum sector, mainly is the Drager tube, which can detect the ppm of any gases like H2S by changing the color according to the ppm. The second type is electrochemical, depending on the electrical magnitude used to transaction or recognition the event. The subtypes of the electrochemical is potentiometric, conductometric, impedometric, and voltammetric or amperometric. And this is the main shapes of the electrochemical sensor. The third one, which is the MEMS or the micro electromechanical system, is the most advanced type of gas sensor. As we could see, it's too many or tiny. It depends on the cantilever, detect the analyte or the gas which be detected and absorbed on the surface on the cantilever. Here we could detect the sensing or the sensing element by changing of the weight. The sensing material types, here we could talk about nanomaterials or metal oxide or bimetal oxide like silver nanoparticle, platinum, palladium. Many shapes of nanomaterial could be used in the sensing topic. Also, the graphene-based sensor like 3D graphene, graphite, carbon nanotube, or any shape of carbon-based material for the detection of phenol, ammonia, nitrogen dioxide, and other gases. The second type of sensing material, which is the organic part, the polymer, conducting polymer mainly used for this target, such as bipyrrole, polyaniline, polythiophene, and their derivatives, have been used as an active layer for gas sensors since 1980s. Recently, hyperbranched, imprinted, and hydrogen-based polymers show greater response towards gas detection. They have high sensitivity and short response time, especially these further ensure at room temperature. They are easy to be sensitized through chemical or electrochemical process, have good mechanical properties which allow faster fabrication of sensor. As a result, more and more attention have been paid to the sensor fabricated from conducting polymer. The last type of sensing material is the nanocomposite, which have two subtypes, polymer-based and metal oxide-based. Polymer-based is mainly one or bimetals doped on the polymer surface to form the N-type junction form, and also the metal oxide-based is a bimetal or three metals forming the N-type, P-type junction form for electrochemical transition. The sensing, two examples for sensing the composite for graphene oxide with bimetals, iron oxide and polypyrrole. The second one was polymer with carbon nanotube with a gas molecule for forming and capping and absorbing the gas molecules. The fabrication process for the traditional type, which is BC fabrication, BC board for an electrode sensing film, and the setup is very simple and could be set for the lab measurements. The second one for the more advanced one, which is the means, the material deposition is the key factor for this process. We have a very, very tiny sensor, huge number of sensors on the surface of the MEMS. We could deposit very tiny material, sensing material on the surface, and then the setup is like we see in the right form, very simple and could be wireless in the advanced application. Here is an example for a response of H2S gas concentration, which is present mainly in the petroleum field and petroleum pipelines. We detect three types of material based on the polymer, polypyrrole, with tin oxide and copper oxide and bimetals of them. As we could see, the polypyrrole composite with copper oxide and tin oxide have the great response time and response efficacy with 70-100% for 100 ppm of H2S. You can check many publications for this topic, detection of volatile organic compound by using MEMS sensors, and the second one for the traditional sensor for biogenic H2S. Now, we will gonna talk about the water pollution and nanomaterials for the SDG in nanotechnology. Let me talk shortly, and Dr. Zahra and Dr. give a great presentation for water treatment and water hazards.
Dr. Bala, sorry, I'm extremely sorry to interrupt you. Can you start wrapping up your presentation, please? We have about 1 minute left.
Okay. For the water treatment sustainable development goals, a new circular economy action plan was gone based on the filtration or the filter which used for the filtration of wastewater. The source of water pollutant, as Dr. Azahra mentioned, very, very large. The filter, which is the main process in the wastewater treatment, focus in the absorption and disinfection membrane and photocatalytic activity for the nanomaterial use. We can use the metal oxide, we can use polymer alone and the composite for hydrogel of chitosan and other materials. The mechanism divided according to the pollutant, which is metal oxide or a biogenic, the raw material for biosolvent, microbes, algae, and agricultural waste. We can use biochar or any waste for graphene source to use an absorbent. And also we use the magnet or iron oxide to extract the pollutants from the water. Here we sensitize the hydrogel of chitosan in the shape of circles. Ion separation and optical detection occurred to measure the response of treatment. Photocatalytic was discussed before by Dr. Zahra according to the band gap of the photocatalyst used. And here the mechanism of the absorption. There is an example of our work published, efficient removal of methylene blue dye with water specimen using polystyrene-coated nanosilica, and the other one, impact of aqueous exposure to silver nanoparticle. Thank you very much for your attention, and please, if any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Plau, for this very excellent talk. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We wish to sincerely thank all of the speakers for their excellent talk. If the audience has any further questions, we would recommend that you directly reach out to the speakers. That's all from me. It was really an honor and pleasure to share the session with you. I wish you all of the very best. Professor Hossam, would you like to add any last comments?
Just I would like to thank all our distinguished speakers, and I want to thank you, Dr. Karen, for share this the session with you. It's my pleasure to join this esteemed event for and forum. Thanks for all.
Thank you, Professor Hossam. It was also an honor co-chairing the session with you. Wishing you all very well. So we'll now close the session. I will ask Tanya to close the session.
Thank you for the conference. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best. Goodbye.
Bye.